Hello, friends. I'm back again. Just had something to say about our veterans and the lousy treatment that our government has provided them, especially disabled veterans with like PTSD and, well, have lost their arms and legs, things like that. My father's disabled veteran, 100% permanent. He didn't lose any of his legs or anything, but yeah, there were some things that happened to him that weren't great. So he gets his medical care from the VA. Well, it's great that he does get his medical stuff taken care of, but the quality of care is just not there. It seems like the doctors or the VA finds the most washed up, inexperienced, uneducated doctors that nobody else wants to hire. Therefore, they can hire them for, well, I guess the best analogy would be minimum wage. So, why would these doctors put forth any effort if they're making the bare bones, no matter if they help somebody or not? I mean, if they're an ethical person, an ethical doctor, that's great, but those are few and far between. Let me tell you. Actually, I don't think I have to tell you. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that go, yeah, doctors are nothing more than pill pushers these days. At least the majority of them are. But there are good doctors out there that actually care about their patients, and they don't have a revolving door where, they see a patient for 3 minutes, send them out the door, and get the next one so they can rack up that bottom line with insurance. I had a doctor like that when I was a little younger, and, well, it was my daughter's doctor. And I was younger and naive, and, well, didn't know a whole lot about the healthcare system and doctors and how they operate. And I went to this one particular doctor for a while, and my daughter, she had this thing growing up. It was this weird infection she would get on her finger, just one finger in particular, her pointer finger. And when she would get this, it would get really sore, and she would just walk around like this because her finger would hurt so much. This went on for a couple of years. It would come up like every year, once, two, three times a year, and then go away. Well, I went to a couple doctors to try and get this taken care of, but the first doctor I went to, well, he sent in one of his, I don't know what you'd call it, physician's assistant, I think is what it was at the time. And now keep in mind, this thing comes and goes on my daughter's finger. It's almost like an infection, because I would drain it and put some peroxide and stuff on it to help get rid of it, so she didn't walk around looking like this with her fingers sticking out all the time. And it did work, but it was like a regular thing I had to do, and it was kind of painful for her. And I didn't like having to do that because I don't want to cause my child pain. So, needless to say, I went to this doctor to try and get it treated or diagnosed or whatever the heck it was, and the doctor sends in a physician's assistant. And he comes in, he's in there, I tell him what's going on, it takes about a minute. And then he looks at my daughter's finger for like 5 seconds and says, "Oh, yeah, that's a wart." A wart doesn't fester. It doesn't pop and ooze infection when you squeeze it. I'm not a doctor. I didn't even close to being a doctor, but I know that as a younger adult and not being very educated, I knew it wasn't a freaking wart. But this guy who supposedly went to school and had medical training tried to convince me that it was a wart. Well, needless to say, I didn't go back to that doctor again, and I went through a few doctors until I found a great doctor. I had to drive almost an hour to get to him, but to this day, other than my childhood doctor, he would be on call. I didn't have to go to the emergency room. My folks would call him and say, "Hey, my kid just cracked his head open or sliced his hand open." Doctor would say, "All right, well, meet me at the office in 20 minutes and we'll patch him up." Whatever happened to those days? Good doctors, people that cared, not just people that wanted to see how much money they could make off their patients and the insurance. Any good doctor doesn't have to worry about that because they know they're a good doctor and they know that people are going to come and see them because he gives them quality care and he's educated and he's not trying to just push pills, because that's what the majority of the doctors do these days because they get kickbacks from Big Pharma. So think about it. Have you noticed when the latest and greatest drug comes out, the doctors, they all start trying to prescribe this medication? A great example is, of course I can't remember now because I'm trying to say it. Elquis? I think that's what it is. But it's late. I'm tired. My head hurts. My sinuses hurt. It could be another one. It's one of those drugs that were meant for one thing, but they're used for another thing to basically help with weight loss. And by the way, I've heard a lot of bad things about that too, as far as that goes. I mean, that's just what I've heard. It's just hearsay, but I hear it can be very harmful long term. But I'm not a doctor. Don't think I am. Don't take it that way. This is just something I read and heard. And I deal with a lot of people that are, well, in the medical industry, so I know a little bit about it. But anyways, this video is dragging out and it's already almost 9 minutes, and I've noticed when I put something on here that's kind of long, people don't watch it. So I guess I'm not that interesting and people don't really care about my opinions except for the few friends that subscribe to me just to help me out. But that's okay. At least I have some kind of an outlet to talk to people, even though nobody really wants to hear what I say. But if you do, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please leave me a comment. I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it takes me a little bit to respond to the comments because I got so much stuff going on. I check back. Sometimes it takes me a week to respond, but I do get back to people because, if they were kind enough to voice their opinion, I should be kind enough to respond. So, anyways, hope you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for listening.